Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 98b, top of the page with the word Tana. Tana umiyashen v'hoylecha nachag. It is taught in a braita. And where he sold aged wine, he is responsible to provide wine that will continue to age, in other words, maintain its quality until the festival of Sukkot. Okay, that's it. New Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Hamoicha makom lechavero, v'chein hamekabel makom lechavero la'asot lo beit chatnut livno, ubeit almanut lebito, bone arba amot al shesh, devre Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yishmael omer, refet bakar hizo." The Mishnah says, with regard to one who sells a plot of land to another, with the buyer intending to build a bridal house for his son, or a widowhood home for his daughter on that plot, and similarly with regard to a contractor who receives a plot of land from another under a commission to build for the owner of that land a bridal house for his son, or a widowhood home for his daughter, the terms of the transaction are a matter of dispute. The Mishnah presents the dispute. I guess it would apply to a bridal house for his daughter also, right? Since he was building it for his son-in-law, would it be the same? Why is it just a bridal house for his son, a widowhood, for his daughter? Why couldn't it be a bride for his daughter? Anyway, the Mishnah presents the dispute. In the latter case, the contractor must build a building that is at least 4 cubits by 6 cubits in size, and similarly, in the case of the sale, the seller must provide a plot of land that can accommodate a building of that size. This is the statement of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Ishmael says the structure of the size is a cow shed, and a bridal house or a widowhood home is larger than that. Further in the Mishnah, one who wants to construct a cow shed builds a structure at least 4 by 6 cubits in size. Bais koton sheish al shmoino, gadol shmoina al eser, traklin eser al eser, rumo kechatzi orko kechatzi rachbo, raya ledavo. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel omer kebinyan ha'heichal. The Mishnah delineates the standard dimensions for various other structures. A small house is 6 by 8 cubits. A large house is 8 by 10 cubits. A banquet hall is 10 by 10 cubits. The standard height for each of these structures is equal to the sum of half its length and half its width. There is a proof of the matter. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says the proportions are like the building of the sanctuary. It was 40 cubits wide and 20 cubits long, and its height was 30 cubits, which is the sum of half the width and half the length. Gemara, the Talmud says, or asks, Lama li lemisna beis chanus livno u beis almanus lebito. I think that was the question that I asked earlier. The Gemara said, and you know what I was about to say? I thought in my mind, I didn't say it, but I said this is the type of question that the Talmud would ask. And here we go, the Talmud is asking the same question. Why do I need the Mishnah to teach specifically a bridal house? Lamali the Mishnah beit chatnut livno ubeit almanut levito. Listen, beit chatnut livno ulevito ubeit almanut livno ulevito. Milta gavot ochik mashmalan telo darka dechatna lemedar bechamu. So the Gemara is asking, very similar to what I was asking, saying basically, why does the Mishnah write like a bridal house for his son and a widowhood home for his daughter? Instead, let it say a bridal house for his son or his daughter, right? Daughters get married too, sons, but they both get married. So why is it just for his son that's getting married? And a widowhood home for his son or daughter. Maybe his son became a widower. Why not? It happens all the time. Why just the daughter becomes a widow and the son gets married? Why is it not both? The Gemara answers, it teaches us a matter in passing. It is not a proper manner of conduct for a son-in-law to live in his father-in-law's home. Oh, so I guess it's saying, I'm saying, but like halacha, it has to cover all cases. What if he Taka did make that? Therefore, is the father of the groom. It is the father of the groom who generally provides a bridal home for the couple, and the bride will return to live near her parents' house only if she is widowed or divorced. Ki dichtiv b'sefer ben Sira hakol shekalti b'chaf ma'oznaim v'lo matzati kal misubin v'kal misubin chasan hadar bechomiv v'kal mechasan oirech machnes oirech v'kal meoirech meishiv davo b'ter mishma shnema meishiv davo b'ter mishma iveleti lo echlima uchlima. Support for this is, as it is written in the book of Ben Sira, I have weighed everything in the pan of the balance scale, and I have not found anything inferior to Bran. But inferior to Bran is a son-in-law who lives in his father-in-law's house, and inferior to a son-in-law is a guest who brings in a guest. And inferior to a guest is one who answers a matter before he listens. As it is stated, he that gives an answer before he listens is folly for him and a disgrace. Proverbs 18:13. Rav Yishmael Omer, Refes Bokor Hizo, Rotze Lasus Refes Bokor Man Ketoni Lei. Ika da Omer Rav Yishmael Ketoni Lei. V'ika da Omer Rav Yakiva Ketoni Lei. The Mishnah teaches, Rabbi Yishmael says, a structure of this size is a cowshed. And then the Mishnah continues, one who wants to construct a cowshed builds a structure at least 4 cubits by 6 cubits in size. The Gemara asks, who teaches the subsequent clause about a cowshed? There is a sage who says that Rabbi Yishmael teaches it, and it is an elaboration of his statement. And there is a sage who says Rabbi Akiva teaches in response to Yishmael's statement. Ika de Omar Rabbi Akiva katoni lei v'hori k'omar. Afal pi she'refes bokor hi pa'omim she'odom oiseh dirosoi kerefes bokor. V'ika de Omar Rabbi Shmuel katoni lei v'hori k'omar she'roitze lasus refes bokor. The Gemara elaborates. There is a sage who says that Rabbi Akiva teaches it, and this is what Rabbi Akiva is saying. Even though the structure is of the same dimensions as a cowshed, nevertheless, since there are times when a person constructs his home as small as a cowshed, a contractor has fulfilled his commission if he builds a house to such dimensions. And there is a sage who says that Rabbi Ishmael teaches it, and this is what Rabbi Ishmael is saying to Rabbi Akiva. The dimensions that you stated are clearly not the correct dimensions for a bridal house or a widowhood home, as one who wants to construct a cowshed constructs a structure 4 cubits by 6 cubits. A house for human dwelling is certainly larger than that. Traklin Neser Leser, my Traklin, Kubsa Bed Valdi. The Mishnah teaches a banquet hall is 10 by 10. The Gemara clarifies, what is a banquet hall? A pavilion of roses. Tani v'kanter, 12 al 12, my kanter, tarbet arpandani. It is taught in a Batra. The standard size of a kanter is 12 by 12 cubits. Excuse me. The Gemara clarifies what is a kanter. It is a decorative courtyard of a mansion. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Ki binyan ha'echal raya ledover man ketoni lei, Ika de Omer Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel ketoni lei, The Mishnah teaches that the standard height. The Mishnah teaches the standard height for each of these structures is equal to the sum of half its length and half its width. There is a proof of the matter. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says the proportions are like the building of the sanctuary. The Gemara asks, who teaches the phrase proof of the matter? There is a sage who says that Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel teaches it, and this is what he is saying. From where can a proof of the matter be derived? The Mishnah then cites that Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel said that everything is like the building of the sanctuary. V'ika de amar tanakama katoni le Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel t'moi komat me hachika male tanakama raya minyan mi binyan hechal atukule alma ke binyan hechal ade. And there's a sage who says that the first Tana teaches it, and understanding that the proof of the Tana wished to cite was from the example of the sanctuary, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel interjected and expressed astonishment at the idea. This is what Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel is saying to the first Tana. From where do you derive proof? Do you derive it from the building of the sanctuary? Is that to say that everyone constructs their buildings like the building of the sanctuary? Why would they do so? Tanya Mabgalet Abaise Achemoy Remumoy Kekoiroisov Velema Urumoy Keroch Boy Iboisema Besa Miila Rabach Iboisema Mishum de Ika Be Chavavi. It is taught in a Braisa that Acherem say the standard height of each of these structures is equal to the length of its cross beams. The Gemara suggests, and let us say more simply, that its height is equal to its width. The Gemara answers, if you wish, say that formulating the ruling this way is necessary because the space inside the house widens at the top as the walls get thinner toward the top, and the cross beams are actually longer than the width of the floor of the building. And if you wish, say instead that formulating it in this way is necessary because there are indentations in the wall into which the crossbeams are inserted. The crossbeams are consequently longer than the space inside the house. Rabbi Chanina nafak likayata ramo lekara diketiv. והבית אשר בנה המלך שלמה לשם 60 אמה אורכו ו20 רוחבו ו30 אמה קומתו וכתיב ולפני הדביר 20 אמה אורך ו20 אמה רוחב ו20 אמה קומתו אומר להו כי כחשיב משפת קרובים ולמעלה. Apropos the building of the sanctuary, the Gemara relates the following incident. Rabbi Chanina once went out to the villages to teach Torah there, and he raised a contradiction between two verses that detailed the dimensions of the sanctuary. It is written, and the house that King Solomon built for the Lord was 60 cubits in length and 20 in width, and its height was 30 cubits. 1 Kings 6:2. But it is also written, and before the partition was 20 cubits in length and 20 cubits in width, and its height was 20 cubits. 1 Kings 6:20. The first verse states that its height was 30 cubits, whereas the second verse states that its height was only 20. He said to the villagers that the reason for the difference is that when the latter verse calculated the height, it did so from the upper edge of the cherubs and upwards, as the cherubs themselves stood 10 cubits high. My Kamash Milan, the Gemara asks, what is the verse teaching us by considering only the area above the cherubs? Meaning, why is it doesn't it measure it normal? Why is it only above the cherubs? What's it? 60 in height, 60 in length, 20 in width, and height was 30. Okay, it's also written the partition was 20 cubits in length, 20 in width, height was 20. So you only answered for the height. You didn't answer for the length. One's at 20 cubits in length, one's at 60 in length. I don't get that one. Okay, to be continued. Ich verstehe nicht. Für eine Kasche startet man nicht.